All right, everybody. Good late afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well. And I said I was going to do this today, and now we're doing it. Taking a look at some top college football prospects from the most recent week of college football. Again, we're only focusing on a handful of positions here, 8 in total. We're going to do 4 in this video, 4 offensive. And then later today, sometime in the evening, we're going to do another 4 on the defense. So let's go ahead, take a look here. Offensively, we do running back, wide receiver, center, and right guard. Those are the positions that I think will be needy next season for the Seahawks on offense. For those of you who maybe didn't watch last week's videos, I've adjusted things a little bit. Used to do different positions, but now I'm focusing in on these ones in particular. So let's go ahead and start with the running backs. First, though, before we dive in, back in 60 seconds. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you about Sleeper, a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat on sports games in real time with other users. You can get the fastest scores, blazing fast sports news and sports alerts right at your fingertips. And of course, you can use Sleeper to play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. This is the way sports were meant to be enjoyed together. So download Sleeper today. Use promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. And you can pair that with another promo they have right now where you can get a $20 entry free with no deposit required. So get both of those things going. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper today. Get to it and go have some fun with sports this year. Okay, so running back, it was a really good week for running backs, really. Darius Taylor, who I've talked about before from Minnesota, almost a $150, a touchdown, caught 4 passes, 16 yards there, 17.2 PFF. I've liked Darius Taylor a lot, and as of right now, he's still probably a day 3 pick. Definitely some value there. Jeremiah Love might end up being RB1 this year from Notre Dame. 228 yards on 24 carries, so big-time efficiency, very explosive game, had a touchdown, caught 5 passes for 37 yards as well, so he had a career day, 80.8 PFF. LJ Martin of BYU, 26 carries, a $122, also had 5 receiving yards, whatever, but 67.9. LJ Martin's a guy I've talked about multiple times this year as being exciting. Katron Allen, the PSU guy, not a lot going right for Penn State this year, but Katron Allen remains a very appealing draft prospect at the running back position. $145, 2 touchdowns, 7 yards receiving, 72.2. And I don't think I mentioned this guy before, but he is an interesting day 3 guy right now. Robert Henry Jr. of UTSA. I believe they are the Roadrunners. 138 yards and a touchdown on the ground. He did have a fumble, which hurt things a little bit, but look how efficient he was. He averaged almost 12 yards a carry. 74.8 grade. So something interesting cooking there with Robert Henry Jr. Liking what I see there. Pretty good week for wide receivers as well. Some usual suspects. These are all guys that I've discussed before, but nothing wrong with that. Chris Bell of Louisville has really come on strong these last couple weeks for the Cardinal. 12 targets, 9 catches, a $136 and 2 touchdowns, 82 PFF almost. He's really turning into a guy that's gonna maybe, I don't want to say definitely, but he might push into the first round. I think right now he's a second rounder. Jacoby Lane of USC. USC lost, but Jacoby Lane had a very fun day. 11 targets to get it, but 6 catches for 111 yards and a touchdown. So that's going to get it done, 65.9. Jordan Tyson, still probably the top receiver in this class. 16 targets, 10 catches, 105 yards, and a touchdown. Also had 1 carry for 1 yard for whatever that's worth, 66.3. I mean, he's doing his thing. He's grinding out there, and he's been so good. You almost kind of lose focus on him. It's almost a little like Tet McMillan last year, where it just like you just become so accustomed to his brilliance that you don't think about it as much as maybe you should, but he is very good. Carnell Tate, the other OSU receiver, and this is a guy who's probably going to get drafted next year. So more interesting for the moment. 7 targets, 6 catches, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ohio State marches on with their dominance. 82.5 PFF grade. And with the way OSU receivers are running the NFL, you know there's going to be a push on him, and I imagine he will be a first-round pick. And Elijah Sarrett rounds us out. Indiana, second week in a row he's been here. Not a monster game necessarily. 4 catches for 70 yards is okay, but 2 touchdowns. You get in the end zone twice, you're going to get a little bit of extra credit. 66.5 isn't amazing, but he is continuing to do good work out there for Indiana, who I believe is currently ranked number 2 in the league. That QB to receiver combo is definitely one to watch. All right, so that's it for receivers. I probably could have found 1 or 2 more guys that were good this week, but I left it at 5. Most weeks I'm going to leave it at 5 at most for these positions, and I'm going to try to stick to that as much as I can. Found a few centers this week as well. It was a better week for center play, I think. Connor Lew was good for Auburn. Did allow 1 pressure. Auburn ran for 150 yards, which is okay. 3.7 yards a carry. 65.3 PFF grade. Ipani Lalolulu of Oregon, the Oregon center. I mean, Oregon did whatever the heck they wanted to do on who they play, Rutgers. I can't even remember, but 415 rushing yards. I don't know if I've ever seen a higher rushing yard total since I've been doing this. So you don't get to 415 rushing yards without getting some superlative play from your offensive line. 11.2 yards per carry, by the way. 74 PFF grade. Absolutely dominant. And Jake Slaughter. I haven't talked about him in a little bit, but I have talked about him before. For Florida, allowed 1 pressure. Florida ran the ball for over 5 yards a carry, 172 yards, 69 PFF grade. Pretty good. Can't complain, can't criticize that. And that takes us to right guard. Decent week here. Nothing over the top special, but a couple of familiar faces and then 1 new one we'll get to at the end here. But Jaden Roberts, the Alabama guy, no pressures allowed, 120 rushing yards, 3.8 yards per carry, which is, I mean, obviously you'd like to see a little bit better, but 68.6 PFF grade is solid. Right now, he might be the top right guard in this draft. There might be some guys that go ahead of him who end up at right guard, but Roberts may be our right guard 1 when all is said and done. Cade Piper of Iowa. I know we've talked about him before, but Iowa had another good game on the ground, almost 250 yards, 7.4 yards a carry, 72.4 grade. So no pressures allowed, doing his thing over there. Iowa beats Penn State. I don't know if beating Penn State is an accomplishment anymore, but Iowa did it. And here is our new name for the week. Bebechi Nwayu. I know I said, I got a new name, and then I can't even really pronounce it right, but it's a tricky one. And by the way, this should be OU, not UO. Yeah, Oklahoma, starting right guard for the Sooners. Allowed 0 pressures. OU ran the ball for 171 yards, 4.3 yards a carry. Pretty good. 65.1 PFF. So he's a new right guard prospect to consider as we go through the rest of this season. And that's it. It was a good week. It wasn't a stellar week necessarily, but good results, good players, good stuff. We got at least a little bit of new stuff to consider as we go through the rest of this season. And hey, it looks like a workable class to me for anything the Seahawks need or want. All right, I'll be back a couple of hours to do the defense, but that will do it for now. Let me know what you guys think. See you guys later. Go Hawks.